guys, welcome back. Sacha Atherton here again. Thank you very much for joining me for episode 2 of How I Turn My Pain into Passion. This episode is called Homeless at 16. So yeah, let's get into it. So yes, just as I was about to take my GCSEs, I got kicked out for the second time, but I had nowhere to go. The relationship with my dad, as you know from episode 1, broke down. And we didn't have one again. I think we spoke once very briefly. He called me in my early 20s, I think, but it didn't take long before that conversation went sour, and then we've not spoken again. So yes, what happened is one of my friends from school, their mum let me stay. So I stayed there for, might have been a week or so, a few days anyway. And my friend's mum, her partner had a relative that worked at this hostel. So she made a few calls to see if there was any space. And I ended up going to the hostel. And I remember being sat in the car outside whilst my friend's mum was going in and getting my stuff. You know, and it was, it was an interesting situation. So next thing I know, I'm in this hostel, and I struggle with time scales. Like, you know, even some of the memories, some are really vivid, most are, but actually I feel like I've subconsciously suppressed a lot of stuff. So the time scales are a bit fuzzy, but I feel like I was at the hostel for 6 months maybe. Took my GCSEs whilst at the hostel at this new school, and I did pretty well, especially considering what was happening. So I've always been bad at maths. I had a French teacher, a guy that was from France, that was teaching maths, and he just used to swear all the time. And because I struggled with maths, I really needed some support that I didn't get. So I got like an E in maths. But English is my strong point, and writing, media as well. I got 3 A's. I came out 3 A's, a few C's, a B, I think. So I did pretty well considering. And I remember at that age, I still constantly sought approval and love from my mum. So I remember going back to hers to tell her what I got for my GCSE results. And the first thing that was said is, why did you get an E? And that's something that kind of sticks with me. And I kind of just walked off, and I just went back to the hostel, where I was met with the total opposite reaction. All of the workers at the hostel gathered together in the office to wait to find out what results I'd got. And they were just over the moon for me. So that was really nice. But obviously I couldn't stay at the hostel forever. So I then went to a bed sit in the St Anne's area of Nottingham, if you know it, which I just wasn't really comfortable with from the start. It was kind of like a community bed sit for young people, homeless. But yeah, I just never felt comfortable being there for multiple reasons. And then an incident happened with some guys that I knew that just turned up at my flat, or whatever you want to call it, and they got quite aggressive. So after I managed to get them out of my flat, I felt like, yeah, I need to get out of this place. So then I put my name down. Obviously I was homeless, I had nowhere to go, I was living in supported accommodation. I put my name down with Framework, and eventually I got moved to a house that was supported housing for addicts. So now, I mean, you know, during this time, I was just about to start college as well. I left school, just about to start college. I'm now living in a house with drug addicts, alcoholics. Yeah, that was another really challenging, tough time. at that point, you know what, and actually for a while, I was a pretty angry teenager, not child, but yeah, teenager. Yeah, pretty angry about everything that had happened, didn't really know how to express it. You'll find it strange now because I'm on YouTube telling everybody what happened to me, but for a very long time, and actually up until recently, I kept everything to myself. And if, you know, one of the main things that I tell everybody is do not keep it to yourself. It's so damaging. All of this was happening and nobody knew. You know, there's people that message me even now on LinkedIn that I used to work with that say to me, oh my goodness, I cannot believe you were going through that at around the same time. So yes, the next stage was living with addicts. So that will be the next episode. Please tune in to episode 3, Living with Addicts. Don't forget to subscribe.